I know you're busy, but you also want to be rich, right? Well, I'm here to tell you that you can be without a ton of time, because I've recently settled into a routine that averages me 200 gold value per week all year long, and only takes about 34 minutes a day, because I'm trying to craft 24 legendaries in 12 months, so I need all the gold I can get. So I figure, why not share what I've cooked up? Let's start with my brand new alt parking in Cantha for the daily hero points. Now, this is a bit more complicated than throwing some items on the trading post, but it's also one of the biggest new additions to my old routine, coming in between 3.3 and 5.3 gold per day via Imperial Favor. In Seitung Province, we want to hit the Jade Bot at the training grounds and the Kirin near the docks waypoint. In New Kaineng City, you'll hit the Haywire Mech up the stairs near the gate, and the Ritualist in the far east near Grub Lane. And finally, we have one to hit in Arborstone. But I do actually hit Arborstones first, since there can be a delay in when you can activate the fight if someone else just recently beat it, so I'll just hop to my next alt or two and then circle back a little bit later. Another extra little tip is that you can actually do a small little jumping puzzle and a dodge minigame quick for extra chests near the hero point in the Seitung training grounds, although they are not factored into my profit that I mentioned earlier. After the hero points, I have a character parked at the Peddler near the first waypoint of Dragon's End to buy a writ for Karma and exchange one of each of the other zone's writs for 5 writs of Dragon's End. The way we make money from these is by eventually consuming writs for Imperial Favor. Every 1,000 Imperial Favor you get, you can craft 1 End of Dragon's Precursor. After factoring in the trading post cut and assuming you purchase everything else you need to craft it from the trading post on 16 to 26 precursors a year, you're looking at 1,206 to 1,959 gold profit per year. Now look, I wanted to take a quick second based on how many comments I received on my last gold making video about this being a full-time job or just play the game and have fun, gold will come. If you don't enjoy this, then don't do it. It sounds really obvious to me, but I just want it to be abundantly clear. Nobody worth your time would ever judge you for not doing these things or anything else. It's a video game. Do what you like to do. This video, nor any other video I will ever make or anybody will make about optimizing your gameplay, is anything you ever have to do. This is for people who want to do it. The only thing you need to do is have fun. Now let's get back to the guide. Now I've upgraded my simple EchoVault single chest method from last year, and with a good setup, you can grab 3 grand chests and a magnificent chest each day to earn 4 to 9 jade runestones that net you 2.72 to 6.12 gold per day in about 2 minutes on one character. For this efficiency, you will need a prototype position rewinder and a griffin. You'll need to get all the way up on these branches at the top of the map here. The first, easiest path is back towards my old park spot to the east, dropping onto a platform above the water here near the waypoint, grabbing that, and then griffin diving further down into the cave, looting the second chest, and rewinding back. There is also a jade chest you can stop for if you like, though I haven't factored that into the profit calculations since I don't care to stop for it. Next, dive off the branches that you rewind to and loop back around this cliff to the south through these vines and onto this platform. This is the hardest one in the series of these 4, as this one is very closely guarded and has an opening time channel. I recommend some stealth, a distraction like a pet, or some invulnerability on your alt here. Then rewind back. Dive back down again after the reset and head west this time towards these routes above and southeast of the Teleri village point of interest. Dive down, loot the chest, and rewind back. Quick shout out to Lestat Stanton 7856 who left a comment on my previous gold video pointing towards a video from Endraws here on YouTube showcasing this absolute goat of a griffin dive spot. Now we have my improved Bjora Marches alt park clocking in around 6.93 gold per day based on only Itrite ingots and Eternal Ice Shards. I park my alts here here, and here on the maps, each at the large essence chest. For the one near the Ox Shrine, after looting, I drop my rewinder and immediately double skyscale dash to the Norn chest immediately to the west. Griffin dive down and swoop back east to a chest below my starting point, and then rewind. Then I set my point and dive down and west under an overhang and look for a chest over here. It can be in a few different places. Rewind, reset, and dive south, looping around the west side of this rock formation to look for the last tier 1 chest here. For Eagle Watch Rise, after opening the large chest, I set my point and fly almost straight east, sweeping low to scan for a T1 chest. I port back and do the same thing towards the south. After getting the southern chest, this is the hardest one out of all of them. It's only going to be possible with a Griffin, no doubt about it. You're going to have to shoot for the ice wall near the text Frigid Dunes, where the road splits and goes into the wall. Death Star trench run down this cave into a circular room. Bear left as you come in, hit the Raven, grab the chest, and if you were fast enough, you can maybe grab the chest next to it for a little bit of extra loot before your timer expires. The final spot near the Shrine of Wolverine by Icespire Peaks, I grab the T3 at the top, rewinder, and dive straight down to nab a T2 and a Norn chest to the left under a small overhang behind a barrier. I rewind back up, set it, dive down, and sweep along this north outside edge of the Wolverine area. You get dismounted if you fly over it, so be careful. There's one chest near the top here, and if you're quick, you have time to skyscale up and across to the T1 by following this edge along the west. Once you hit that, rewind, reset, and dive around the eastern edge of this mountain. The T1 chest can be either on the northeast or southwest side of the mountain, so you'll just loop around to the east side to avoid the dismounting radius of the shrine, grab the chest wherever it is, and rewind back. Now, I used to trade my Eternal Ice with Karma for volatile magic currencies to consume that I would then use that magic to buy trophy shipments. But I realized purchasing Tyrian defense seals and buying Tengu chests from Tactician Erlinson in the Eye of the North is much better thanks to Fastfarm, giving 1.41 silver compared to 88 copper per Eternal Ice. It also costs no gold to do this, unlike trophy shipments, so it is great as startup capital for you newer players out there. Now, you could still technically make more money with turning Eternal Ice into branded mass and then crafting gear according to Fastfarm, or even buying Ace Gear's amulet and salvaging it for a chance at the excellence, but I don't like going through all of that. It can take a long time to sell gear, and if you end up needing to repost the gear, it can bleed into that profit margin even worse. I also have the worst RNG ever with Ace Gear's amulet, having tried it in the past, spending like millions of karma on it and getting no salvage to excellence. So I'll be honest, I have a personal vendetta against that. Now, the Itrite ingots are the only things I use in all of this to make any sort of actual gear to sell according to Fastfarm's recommendations. Just because I have so many saved up right now, I may as well use some of them for profit. Before I made the recommendation myself and actually included it in these calculations, I made several items, and over the course of 2 days, I sold 5 of these items, which you get enough ingots per day to craft 2 items, essentially, with an extra one every 10 days. So that more or less works out to be relatively reliable. Now, with any gear crafting, it is a little bit more subject to possibly needing reposting or significantly more patience if you don't want to repost to allow for price fluctuations to come back and forth. So your mileage may vary on this, but it does seem fairly repeatable. Another new addition I've kept for all of Janthier Wild so far is my Mesmer parked at the Queen's Confidence jumping puzzle. It's not the most profitable, giving only 40 silver per day on average, I would say, between Ectoplasm and Mersat runestones, but it's been a passive way to build those up for my legendaries. This one typically takes a minute or less, depending on your luck, to get the chest that contains a honeycomb. It's usually some guaranteed rares as well, but it was also updated to have the newer Mistburned Baron's weapon skins when that came out. And as I'm recording this video before the June 3rd update, I'm hoping that it also gets a new set with Baba Nisos, as those tend to be pretty expensive at the start of the drop. Now, unlike any other spots, I do recommend a Mesmer specifically for this if you can, because you'll sometimes need several drops down and resets to get it done, since the bees are randomized in location but require a specific order based on the names. So a portal can save you some time, but it is totally possible either way. If you have no idea how to get here and want to walk through on this, I've got a video I'll link in the upper corner from early in the expansion, or you can just look it up on the wiki. Now, my Soto chest parks build up nicely for help on legendaries with passive currency and rare items for Ecto. If you want to go through the trouble of turning currencies into weapons, you can average like 86 silver per chest according to Fastfarm. I currently only park one alt in Soto, and it's at the Voss's Compassion point of interest to nab this greater chest. I then set a position rewinder, dive down towards the waypoint below it to nab the greater chest on the buildings above that waypoint. And if you're fast enough, you can skyscale up right away and go right back the way you came under Voss's Compassion to the north and look for a lesser chest that is sometimes here. Just keep in mind, you will need to re-equip your positional rewinder after using a chest before you can teleport. In Omnitas, a great spot is at Crystal Pool, where there's one greater chest, but you can then teleport up to the World Spider, and at the Southern Ring, there's a second greater chest and sometimes a minor chest you can quickly grab near the waypoint. Stay at the Southern Ring chest that day and then log out there. That day, you can log in, grab the Southern Ring chest, and then dive back down to Crystal Pool, log out there, and then just repeat that process. Now in Inner Nios, I like to park on top of the rock formation near the Burrows point of interest, south of the Colosseum. There's a second greater chest to the east on the ceiling of the Fortress of Founding, and you can rewind back to the first one in time. Though if you do miss your timing, it's not a hard spot to reset, unlike some of these locations. I've also started parking an alt at the Drizzlewood Quaestor to buy 5 cash keys for cheap every day, since I love Drizzlewood farming, and I'm probably going to be doing it a lot over the next year to help me farm for all these bloody legendary items. Fastfarm research gives these a 15.53 silver value each key if you open enemy supply caches exclusively. Those aren't included in any of my calculations here, which would be 77.65 silver per day, since you can buy 5 keys at the cheapest volume. Obviously, it's not that simple, since it involves active gameplay or possibly leeching off of a meta, which still involves going around and looting more things. But it's just something I do every day because I like Drizzlewood and will be here in the future. So it's a little present for future me. Now for daily harvesting, I'm part of a maxed out guild as well as my own small guild with a few friends that's like bottom of the barrel upgraded. I harvest nodes from both of these guild halls every day, plus my home instance, aka Homestead. Just doing that with volatile magic tools nets about 77 silver per day, and that's just from the volatile magic strikes from the glyphs of volatile magic. I'm not bothering to factor in all of the regular crafting mats harvested in those guild halls. But we need to talk about homesteads, and before anybody asks, nope, I'm not including node purchase costs in these calculations. I tried that in my last video, but it made everything a mess. If you want those numbers, Fastfarm in the wiki have them, and Fastfarm will even tell you how long they take to pay themselves off. Every node I'm using here for this video pays for itself within 1 single year. Now, the biggest single profit item I'm getting from the homestead is grow lamps. These are simple and solid, averaging 8.25 gold profit every 10 days. Now, technically, grow lamps aren't the most profitable option according to Fastfarm. That title goes to the commander's gear, but that requires recipes from Dragon's Stand, and those are gated behind RNG and seem riskier to craft those. As I said earlier, I'm not the biggest fan of crafting too much gear to sell. I prefer something easily repeatable and reliable. I recommend a crate obelisk shard in the homestead, as it's a very easy way to get your daily 25 quartz converted to a charged quartz crystal while you're already here. But don't sleep on the quartz crystal node, as it also has a chance to give you an extra charged quartz crystal when you mine it on top of just daily normal crystals. As for the rest of my home instance income, most of it comes from Living World Season 3 and 4 nodes, specifically Corn and Cash, Mistborn Moat, Difluorite crystals, Mistonium, Dragon Crystal, winter berries, primordial orchids, and Orient oysters. I use volatile magic for trophy shipments and unbound magic for magic warped bundles. Volatile magic averages out to 33 copper each, and unbound magic about 7 copper each. The upcoming daily calculations assume you consume all of your currencies to make them into magic. Oh, and remember that 77 silver from the volatile magic tools earlier? That is accounted for separately entirely earlier. So using any tool on all of these nodes, you'll get a guaranteed 60 volatile magic per day and 15 to 25 volatile magic per item that you consume. I assume an average of 20 for these calculations. Multiply that out and we get 300 volatile magic or 99 silver per day. Unbound magic is a lot lower in profit. You get 15 to 45 from harvesting them and 285 to 570 magic from consuming those items. That's around 20 to 40 silver per day. Personally, I don't consume winter berries. I'm hoarding them for the mythical day I actually get around to buying my ascended aqua breathers. You can also convert primordial orchids into fire orchid garlands to salvage for a shot at salvaged excellence, possibly making a good bit of gold, according to Fastfarm. But again, that's RNG. Same goes for Orient oysters, which can be turned into coral chokers the same way, or used for Orient coffers during the Siren's Landing meta event. So the bottom line, if you're lazy or efficient, like I am, and want that easy passive route, you're looking at about 2 gold and 88 silver per day from homestead harvesting, 2 guild halls, and grow lamp crafting every 10 days. Now, on top of grow lamps, I'm also converting some of my mithrilium that I craft every day into Zunlai ingots. That's about 1.98 gold per day in profit, or 1.47 gold of profit if you include mithril in the cost. Personally, I have so much mithril, I just treat it like it's free. I also knock out doll hides on my leather worker, which nets me 1.18 gold a day on average. Beyond that, I do my other daily ecto crafting, but those are mostly for future potential legendaries. Those aren't included in any of my calculations here. Once a week while I'm in Arborstone for my hero point loop, I also head over to Levias to grab all of the antique summoning stones that I can afford. Important note, I do not buy the ones that cost Imperial Favor anymore. Big shout out to the many viewers, polite and otherwise, who corrected me on that in the previous video. Imperial Favor is too valuable to waste. I usually just grab 3 stones per week since I'm mostly a solo player and don't have blue profit shards. But if you do have those, Fastfarm does say they're an excellent return on investment to purchase. I typically also start my week by tackling the Wizard's Vault weeklies, which I'll talk about more in depth later, but I do use a recharging teleport to friend to skip to the end of the weekly jumping puzzle, saving tons of time. Thanks to Praxis, who always has a squad up for it. They've probably saved me days of jumping at this point, and I just wanted to give Praxis 8732 a shout out for that with their permission. You'll usually find them listed under Central Tyria squads for the weekly jump puzzle or even not so secret. I also do a now weekly, thanks to the upcoming June 3rd update, Provisioner Token Run. I don't trade Ectos anymore, thanks again, comment section, for Provisioner tokens. Now I just use Obsidian Shards, Reclaimed Metal Plates, Auric Ingots, and Chalk Eggs in Black Citadel, Verdant Brink, Auric Basin, and Tangled Depths, respectively. That's 28 tokens per week, and at this rate, I'll have enough tokens for a full legendary armor in 68 weeks, give or take, which is faster than I could craft all of those armor, sigils, and runes anyway. Now, it just wouldn't be a complete gold video if I didn't talk about the Wizard's Vault here, because it's a lot of money on the table. I've done a ton of math on this, and I'll likely go deeper on it in another video soon for newer players, because it's just too much to tack onto this video. But here are the highlights. If you only buy the money-making stuff, you are looking at 3,004 to 3,260 gold per year, plus 4 legendary bundles on top of that are each worth about 400 to 500 gold in account value each. Now, if you're like me and buy all of the cosmetics, I would say subtract about 524 gold a year based on the previous season's total price of all cosmetics. So in total, you'd pull between 4,080 to 4,736 gold per year of total account value without digging into and crafting and selling the legendaries. Here's what I always buy. Mystic coins, clovers, 30 heavy crafting bags, 90 discounted gold bags, 150 laurels, and the legendary bundle item. After that, I just spend everything else on the 35 acclaim gold bags. I don't need ascended armor anymore. If you're a completionist like me, grab the cosmetics now. They will be more expensive once they cycle out of this season. So let's break down all of the final calculations here. My daily routine takes about 25 minutes, including time to do Wizard Vault dailies. I can typically do my Wizard Vault weekly in about 1 additional hour. This week, it took me 40 minutes to do the weekly. If we assume an hour just for variation, that's about 235 minutes a week or 34 minutes a day when you average that out. The base profit range is 19.39 to 24.79 gold for the daily route. The total Wizard's Vault profit averages out to 11.2 to 13 gold per day, and the Arborstone weekly purchase averages 0.72 to 0.97 gold per day. All told, that is 31.31 to 38.76 gold per day, or 55.27 to 68.4 gold per hour in a simple calculation. If we take those daily numbers, that means we get 219 to 271 gold per week, or 11,428.15 to 14,147.4 gold per year. Just remember though, not all of that is liquid gold. Some of it are clovers, favor, or legendary item boxes that are going to take a bit of extra effort to convert to liquid gold. But if you do convert them, they actually exceed the base value that I've calculated for you here. Either way, it's total account value, and it won't go to waste assuming you use those items to craft yourself legendaries in the future. And if you're on an absolutely ridiculous goal like I am of crafting 24 legendary items in the next 12 months, things like those clovers are great. If you haven't seen that announcement video, you can check it out here. It'll give you some context for why I built up this routine from my old, crappier one in the first place. Needless to say, it's going to be a crazy year.